My classroom experience changed. We now have access to the internet right in class, so if we have a question, we're like, what year did this happen in? We look it up right away. And it's
iPads have enabled students to feel more connected in the classroom, and it's enabled students to stay more connected with me, both inside and outside the classroom.
Classroom's actually become a paperless classroom. Everything's available online to them.
We're just unimaginably more connected to the world around us, and it's not just, the school becomes not just what's inside these four walls of BHS, but what the entire community can offer us.
It's equitable for all students. So giving a simple assignment as for kids to type up an essay, now I can require every kid to do that and know that every kid can do that. That gives a lot of power to the student and to the teacher in a simple assignment, which we couldn't do a few years ago because not every kid had access to that technology.
First of all, students are able to get feedback much more quickly. A lot of the feedback for small things I do, they submit electronically. I can immediately review that, so the day of, not next class, not 2 days later, they're able to see how they're progressing in my class. They're able to see, am I proficient in this skill, am I not proficient in this skill, even though we don't see each other. And I think that's had a huge effect in catching students that are falling out of the loop.
It changed my life because with an iPad I can go look at an assignment. If I forget it, I can turn it in immediately. I don't have to go to the computer lab or ask for a pass. I can just do it right away.
We preloaded our textbooks onto our iPads, which is really helpful because it's one less thing to carry around. And also there are more resources, so you can kind of cross-check your work a lot easier. You find something in the textbook and then you can also Google it if it doesn't, match up or you're not totally sure about it. And right now, you just have chemistry. This is the, appendix kind of it. I mean, it's just like a regular book.
To me, I was like, I do this lab, what do I need the iPad for? I can just do it without it. And then I realized that there was a better way for me to see student learning, and one of that way was to orally present. The issue with oral presentations for me is with a classroom of 24 students, to do that in front of class takes way too long. This allowed students to orally present because they did it on their iPad, and then they sent me the files and I watched them all. And they were under 5 minutes long, and so I was able to see a report that was oral versus written, and there's a huge difference.
So there are certain texts that catch different voices that we don't have access to as a department, but that my students have access to. So they can read short stories from different cultures in a way that our department can't fund by buying those individual pieces. It's allowed me to personalize the curriculum and to connect with more kids.
We can now post all of our film online. Kids can look at it at home, they can look at it here at school, during free blocks, during lunch, they can watch it, they can comment on it, and they just have access to it. And so now the things that we did before are now in the hands of the students. So kids can, in football, watching film is really big, and being able to see that, and that's one really nice part of having the iPad in every kid's hand from a football coach's perspective.
If there's a problem I need to solve, instead of just writing an essay about it, I actually have to go to the teacher, find out what problems they're having, come up with a solution, and propose it in a way that they can understand it. And yeah, it's just a totally different and more realistic opportunity to show how you've learned stuff, and it was almost a real work experience for me.